Okay, so today we're going to be doing like my past with ghosts and haunting and spirits and just stuff. Sorry guys, and stuff like that. So let's get into it. And it's also like midnight up in here, so let's get into this. Alright, so the first story, I think it was when I was the youngest. We used to live in this house on a ranch out in the country, and it was haunted because it used to be on like an army. Some type of war happened on it. I don't remember. I was like 4 or 3. Anyways, so we had a TV room. Okay, so here's the TV room. Here's my parents' bedroom, and then right behind the TV room was my bedroom. So it was like door to door to door. Okay. So anyways, I was in the TV room. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning on a Friday night, and I heard something from out the window. So I got scared, and I went through the door that went to my parents' bedroom, and I said, "Hey, I'm scared. Can I lay on the floor?" And they're like, "Oh, I don't want you to lay on the floor." So I brought my mattress in, just like the top mattress, like yeah. Anyways, so I slept on the floor. I remember, so I was facing that way, and that way was towards the door, and the light in the TV room was still on. So I was looking that way, and I was just like dozing off, and then out of nowhere I saw a shadow. Like I looked, and I saw a shadow, and it was literally an army guy crouching down with his gun, and I was like, "Oh, heck nah!" And I shook my mom, and she's like, "Oh, it's probably nothing. Just go back to bed, honey." I'm like, And I ended up just sleeping with them on the bed. Anyways, so another story, story 2. I was upstairs in my playroom. My playroom was upstairs. There was the spare bedroom, the storage room, and the playroom were all upstairs. All bedrooms creepy. And so I was up there, and I had what's that thing called again?
Lanyard.
I had a lanyard because the light was one of those you gotta pull it to turn it on. And so I tied a lanyard to it to pull it, and that's the only way that you could get the light on and off, by pulling it. And you could hear it when you pull it because it's like, anyways. So I was in there, and I was just playing store with my little high fashioned cash register with the money next to it and in it, and it had the beep, Anyways, so I was playing with that, and then the light turned off and on without it flickering, and you couldn't hear the beep, 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 beep. Yeah, whatever. When you pull it, you couldn't hear that, and I was like, and I know, it could just be a storm. A squirrel could have eaten the power lines, but no, the power lines were perfectly fine at our house, and I bolted downstairs. I was like, and I told my mom, and I was like, "Did you guys get this power outage thing?" And they were like, "No, what are you talking about?" I'm like, and so I go back up there with my mom, and I swear, I look out the window, I see an alien head. I see a freaking alien head. I didn't see his face, but it was like, I don't believe in aliens now, but that time, at that point, I was like, no. And I literally grabbed onto my mom, and I never went up there during the night, ever again. Ever. Okay, so that's another story. And then another story in this house. Last story. I was sitting on the couch. So here's the couch, and then right behind the couch, there's a staircase that goes down that way, and it has a railing, yada, yada, yada. There's no possible way that, like, I don't know what I was going to with that. But anyways, so I was sitting on the couch, and then I heard steps, and I was like, oh, it's probably just my mom or something. And, like, a couple minutes later, no one is down the stairs, and I'm just like, that's weird. And so I turn behind me, and then there's no one, and I yell, "Mom!" And she's in the kitchen. I'm like, okay. And then I kind of just brush it off me. And then a couple minutes later, I see a shadow going down the stairs. yeah, this house was just freaky. Like, from then on, I slept in the TV room only. The lights were on until we moved out. Yeah, pretty much.
The picture.
I would not sleep in there. One more thing about that house is we had a creek right next to the house. And me and my mom just decided to go have some fun because it was a boring, lonely day at home, weekends. And so I don't remember who decided to go take a photo shoot, but we were like, let's go take a photo shoot. And so we go outside, and I decided to grab a stick and hold it by the river. And like the background is like a bridge. And to this day, I have proof. I have the picture, but I don't feel like going to show you because it's out there and the Wii is in here and we have to like set it up and all that jazz. But no. But you can even ask Taylor. There was a little girl standing behind me. She was in a white dress. You can see the shape of her body, and it was it's the same shadow that I saw going down the stairs. It's the same. Never mind. Okay, anyways. So now we live in a small town, and we lived on Elm Street. Elm Street, Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, it's just not a good situation. So we were living in this house, and many people have seen like weird things in this house that like visitors.
Like the Man in Black.
And I still get the chills thinking about this house. So there's so many stories. Okay, let me think of one. There's so many, I don't even know where to start. Okay, so I guess we'll start out from like the first thing. Okay, so my mom was at work, my dad was out in the living room. It was on a Saturday. My dad was out in the living room watching some show about the Bible or Jesus. And I was in my room taking pictures in a mirror. Imagine that. And there was a man behind me. In the picture, you could see his face. He had a mustache, all that. And I look at this, and I, of course, knowing me, I freak out over ghosts like bad. I flip. I'm like, and then I go out there and I show him. And he's like, I don't see anything. I'm like, and I stay out there for the rest of the day. And my mom sleeps with me in there that night because I ain't sleeping in there. And then my niece, she spends the night. And, oh yeah, my niece, she spends the night and we go to sleep. She slept with me because she was just a little girl. And she wakes up in the middle of the night. And she starts shaking me, freaking out. I'm like, what? And she's like, I see something standing over there. And I'm like, I look over there and I see nothing. And I'm just like, just go back to bed. It's probably your guardian angel, like trying to calm her down. And she's like, I don't see it anymore. And then we go back to bed and I cuddle with her because she's scared. And I'm scared on the inside too, but I can't show it because if I show it, she'll flip. So I had to stay strong. I wanted to get out of that room really bad. And then my nephew, he stayed the night. And outside of the window, we see a shadow of like a tree. I know this isn't very scary, but and then I look out the window and there's no freaking tree out there. And then the next day, there's still the shadow of the tree. And the next day I look out there and there's no tree. I'm like, where'd that tree even come from? So, yeah, and then what else? Okay, so I was in the bathroom and I was just doing my hair and makeup, just trying new things. And I heard a knock on the door. Like, just yeah. And so I open it and there's nobody there. And I'm like, Jarrett, stop it. And he's like, I didn't do anything. And I was like, Mom, stop it. And she's like, stop what? And I'm like, no, I can't let this get to me. I'm like, never mind. And so I go back in, I shut the door again, and I hear the same knock again. And so I open it this time. No one's there. So I keep the door open, and I hear the freaking knock again, even though the door is open. I'm like, no, I'm done. I get out of that bathroom, and I'm done. So That's another story. And then one time my dad, Dexter, go away. And my dad's friend, Cameron, he was sitting on the couch. He was home alone. And at our house. Don't ask why. But he was sitting on the couch. And so here's our couch. And then there's a doorway to the hallway. We had a long freaking hallway. And it was dark and scary. And that just scared the crap out of me. My parents' bedroom door just slammed shut. Okay, anyways. So, he sees a shadow pass through the doorway. Like, yeah. And then he doesn't really think much of it. He believes in all that paranormal stuff. And then he feels something cold on his shoulder. And my parents, of course, don't believe him. They don't believe in any paranormal stuff. And I'm like, was it a guy? Do you think it was a guy? And he was like, yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my god. Okay, so the landlord comes over, like, a couple weeks later, and I'm like, did there used to be an old man that used to live here? And she's like, yeah, he died in this house. I'm like, oh heck to the nah. And I'm like, what bedroom did he die in? And she's like, the bedroom closest to the bathroom. And I'm like, that is my bedroom. And she's like, oh. I'm like, And so it was so scary at the moment. Like, I was like, I'm not gonna live in a room that an old man freaking died in. No. And so, yeah. And, like, the door would not shut all the way, like, ever. And one night I was just laying there in bed, doing my thing, and then the door just goes all the way. And then when it gets to, like, the door stop, it goes BAM! And I'm like, okay. And it was during, like, the afternoon, so it wasn't as scary. If it was at night, I would start crying. Like, literally.